On your IREAD test, you might experience some affixes. An affix could be a prefix or a suffix. So let's remember that a prefix is a beginning couple letters that we can add on to an already existing word, which we call a root word, to make the meaning a little different, to change the meaning a bit. So we had some we've learned are pre, un, and dis. So some examples of that are, here are some words: reread, redo. So re means again. Read it again. Pre means before. So preview, preschool. View it before, like the movie. There's previews before the movie. And school, preschool is before you start your actual school learning that's required. Unable, untie. So un means not able, and not tied, or opposite. And then we have disconnect, disrespect. Dis means not, so not connected and not respected. All right, so those are our prefixes. We add them on to the beginning of a root word. Then the other one, oh, wait a second, I have a non-example. This one has un in it, but it's not a prefix, because when you take un off, you just have der, and der is not a word. So this is not a prefix, it just happens to be part of a word. So remember, when you take un off, it has to still be a word. Able is a word. Tie is a word. Okay, so now we move on to suffix. Suffixes are at the end of a word. And some examples we've talked about are full, less, and ist. So some examples of those would be, all right, so do you notice how I added the suffix to the end of the word? So I have a word hope, and when I add full to it, I am full of hope. So the FUL means full, just like FULL does. But when it's a suffix, we just do one L. Hopeful, colorful, I'm full of color, or a paper is full of color. Next one, less, means without. So if I'm hopeless, I'm without hope. Colorless, without color. So putting those on the end changes the meaning of the root word, but I can still take it off and it's still a word, color. Then we have worker, teacher. Those have If you take off the I have work and teach, which are real words. ER means like you're in the act of doing that. So you're in the act of working, you're in the act of teaching, or doing those things. And then we have IST, and the IST suffix means that you're practicing something. So biologist, now that should be the word biology, but it changes because the Y turns to an I when you don't have a Y then an I. That would be weird. So the act of studying or practicing biology. And a receptionist, if I take off ist, it'd be reception, is the act of like receiving people, of being a reception person, like greeting them and showing them what to do. All right, so remember though, when you take it off, the suffix off, it has to leave a root word, a real word. This word is not an example of a suffix. It has ER at the end, which on my little suffix board, I wrote ER, but it doesn't work because if you take off the ER, we are left with STE, and that's not a word by itself. It has to be a word that when you take that off is a word and you can understand the meaning. So I'm in the act of no, that doesn't work. All right, so now that we've kind of reviewed what prefix and suffixes are, let's do some IREAD practice. So on your test, you might get a question like this. Choose the word that has just the suffix and only the suffix underlined. So we've got suddenly with LY, suddenly with ENLY, sudden with SUDDEN, and sud, all underlined. So the main thing you need to remember is prefix is before the word. Preview is before the movie, prefix is before the word. Suffix is at the end. So if it wants only the suffix, you already know right off the bat that these are not going to be the answers because it has the beginning. Well, now which one is it going to be here? Mrs. Yankee didn't tell me about one like this. We hadn't learned about this. Well, let me try. If I take off ENLY, I have the word sud, S-U-D-D. That's not really a word. But if I take off LY, I have the word sudden, all of a sudden. So your best bet is suddenly. LY is a suffix. So the answer would be A. All right, next one. Well, those are the same words. Why would they give me the exact same problem? That's weird. I think they're just trying to make you think. So it says, let's see, is it suffix or prefix? It says suffix. Suffix is at the end because pre is before. Pre before a movie. Suffix is at the end. So we have NLY. So again, just think of it as if we take this off, we have the word sud or sud. LY, sudden. We take this off, we have denly. And this doesn't even make sense because it's in the middle of the word. So it's definitely not D or C. So is it A or B? Just like before, suddenly is the word sudden. All right, now totally different one. This time I'm not going to help you. All right, go ahead. Actually, you know what? I think there's a mistake on here because none of them are suffixes. And if you're wondering why I say that, look, suffix is at the end, so we know it's not this one. If I take off T-E-S-T, I'm left with gre. That's not a word. That one doesn't even have anything underlined. And then this one, I'm left with greaty or something. I think there was a mistake and they were supposed to do the right answer here. So it should be est, E-S-T, because if we take that off, we have great. So like a degree of greatness. You're the greatest, you're the most great. So that was a bad example. Wah, wah. Let's try the next one by yourself. All right, notice it does, there's another one with no underline. What is going on? Notice it does say prefix. So preview, preview becomes for the movie. So prefix is at the beginning. Figure out which one it is. And this actually was an exact example that we had done before. So the answer would be this top one, preview, because it has PRE. If you take that off, you have the word view, view before. This one, view, that's actually underlining the root word, so that doesn't work. That doesn't have anything underlined, and that is underlining something in the middle of the word, which doesn't even make sense. All right, next one to do by yourself. Pay attention to asking for prefix or suffix. Okay, it did ask you for prefix, which means it's at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the one that's at the end. And then we've got to figure out, again, whoever made this made a lot of mistakes. I'm so sorry. I did not make this. If I take off, ooh, this is a tricky one because if I take off red, I have the word one, and that's a word. But if I take off re, I've got the word done. And see, these are the same. They shouldn't have had two the same. So is it going to be redone or read one? Your answer would be redone, done again. Red and one is like a compound word, even though red one isn't a word. But it would be like a compound word where you put two words together, and a prefix by itself is not a word, re. So the answer was redone. All right, next one. All right, do this one. This will be our last one. I lied. We are going to do one more after this because this one was easy. It says prefix, and prefix means at the beginning. And there's only one that has the beginning underlined, so it's got to be this one, restarted. All the other one have this is suffix, this is the root word, and that's not just random letters. All right, one more, and I wanted to do one more because this one's a little different. I'll read this with you. It says, choose the word that has the base word and only the base word underlined. I don't know why they used base. I like to say root word better, but it's the actual main word that does not have, we're not talking about the prefix, we're not talking about the suffix. So rescued. If you look at this one, this is not a prefix because if we take off re, we have skewed, skewed. So that one's not even a prefix, suffix, nothing. Now, the rescued, the word is going to be rescue, and I would just take off the D for that one. That is the root word. Rescued, you're adding an ED to it, but if you do this, this is not how you spell the base word. Rescue is spelled R-E-S-C-U-E. So the answer would be this one. This is pretty tricky stuff. So let's, I know I'm lying, but let's do one more. Just one. Just one. All right, try this one. Choose the word that has the base word and only the base word underlined. So no prefix, no suffix. You should have done determine right here. Determine. I need to determine which one is the right answer. So un was a prefix and ed would be the suffix. So we just have determine. All right. How about just one more? I'm kidding. I've said that enough times. I'm not going to make you do it anymore. Okay. So I hope this was good practice and you're feeling more prepared for your IREAD test. So go ahead and do the next thing that's on your work for today.